Today's card is a Think Forward card. We're going to do all stamping. I didn't do any die cutting with this card, and we're going to think spring as we're creating. This is the card that we're going to do. I don't know if you can see, but the mat that I used behind my stamped layer is Fresh Freesia. It's the fine shimmer specialty paper that comes with the fancy Flora suite that's in the mini catalog. And we're going to use a Fresh Freesia card base. And then we're going to do the stamping for the inside and the outside. Okay? And the stamp sets that we're going to feature, we're going to use the Two Tone Flora, one of my favorite sets of all time. I love this set. So we're going to feature that. And then we're going to use some sentiments from the Celebrating You set. We're going to use this You Are Every Bit of Wonderful, and Just For You. So, really pretty card, really springy. Let's just jump right in. Now, I did some different sizes with my papers for the front just because the way I designed it, I liked that look. So I will give you that. If you don't want to write down the measurements, you can hop over to my blog, karenscardsandmore.com, and I will have the measurements there for you, so you don't need to write anything down. I am an independent demonstrator from Stampin Up, and if you like any of the products that you see me using today, you can also order those from my website, karenscardsandmore.com. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to help you with that. And let's just jump right in and get started on this card. A pretty easy card. The hardest part is deciding where to put your flowers. Let me show you the paper that I'm going to use and the inks that I'm going to be using. So I started with a Fresh Freesia card base, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then my mat, I wanted just a narrow edge. I didn't want the 1/4 inch. The full, normally we would have a normal, we'd go a 1/4 inch smaller, which would give us 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and I wanted to reduce that. This is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Then our next layer that we're going to put on there, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Then the layer for the inside is our normal 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, so that's the pieces that we're going to need. And I'm just going to keep my 2 basic white pieces here because that's what we're going to do some stamping on. Let me show you the ink colors that I've selected because I wanted to get a really good springy vibe going here. So for my flowers, I'm using Gorgeous Grape with Fresh Freesia. And I'm using Blushing Bride and Polished Pink together. And I love the way that gives you the two-tone flower. I like that combination. Then for my leaf sprigs and my little leaves, I'm using Soft Sea Foam and Soft Succulent. Those are my greens that I'm going to be using, okay? So we're just going to get started with some stamping. And I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper because on the front panel, we're going to be going off the edge a little bit. So let's start with that front panel. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to open up my ink pads that I'm using for my flowers. And I'm just going to line these up here. So I can just stamp right down the line. Might as well go ahead and open up my greens as well. So I can have everything ready. A lot of different colors today. I don't normally have this many ink pads going at once, but this is what we're going to do for today. So I'm going to start with my main front flower. I wanted to start with that, so once I place that, I could build around it. So we're going to start with that one. So I'm going to bring in my large flower, and I want to do the polished pink. I'm doing the detailed part first, and then I'll go back with the solid part. Okay, so I've got that inked up, and I've got a little ink on my block where I don't need it, so I'm gonna get that off. And I'm just going to place this about in there. Now that's probably not going to be placed exactly like my sample, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. Every one you do is going to be a little different. So now I'm going to take the solid part of this large flower, and I'm going in the Blushing Bride. And if you line it up by the middle, it makes it pretty easy to line up. The hardest part is keeping my head out of the camera. So I'm just going to stamp that down. Now I'm just going to work to the next one. And this is going to be the other larger flower. And I'm doing this with the Gorgeous Grape, the detail part with the Gorgeous Grape. Just going to stamp that up. And I'm just going to put this fairly close there. I think right there looks good. And then I'm going to use the solid part of that stamp with my Fresh Freesia. Ink that up. And again, I'm going to line it up with the middle, by the little part in the middle. And I'm going to stamp that down. Okay, and then we're just going to keep working to the right, and then we'll go back to the left. And so then we're going to use this little dotted, there's little dots in the middle. That's the size we're going to use next. And we're going to do this in our pink combination. So we'll start with the polished pink. And I'm going to just stamp this. Now this one's going to go a little bit off the paper, and I'm okay with that. That's why I have my scrap underneath. And I'm going to come in with the Blushing Bride. Again, I'm going to line up the holes in the middle. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to do this, the sprig of pink flowers that I have there. And I'm going to need to clean off one of my stamps so I can have my block. I have a limited number of blocks, so I'm going to have to clean as we go here. So I'm going to start with the detailed part. Which looks like this. And again, I'm using the polished pink of that. I'm just going to run this right up in here. Just like that. And then I'll come in with the Blushing Bride. And line those dots up. Stamp down. Just like that. And then I'm going to move down this way and do another purple flower. And this one is this. And again, we're going to do the same process. We're going to start with the dark one. This is going to be our Gorgeous Grape. And we're gonna go somewhere down in here. Right about there, looks good. Looks like that. And we're gonna come in with the solid portion of this stamp. We're gonna do that in the Fresh Freesia. Get that good and inked up. And we're gonna line this up. I'm just gonna stamp that down, just like that. And now we're gonna do the spray of flowers with the purple colors. So we'll start with the dark. We're just going to bring this in right in there. And then we'll come in with the lighter color. Just going to press that down. Okay, and then we're going to stay with this sprig. Actually, I think I'm going to switch, and I'm going to do another purple flower. Let's do this purple flower. So I'm going to come in with my dark color to do my detail. I'm going to stamp that right up in here. And then I'm going to do the solid part in the lighter. We're just going to line that up and stamp that down. And then we're going to go back to this other little one that we're going to do right up there in the corner. This is just going to go right up in here. And then I'm going to come back with the small piece of that. A solid piece. I'm going to ink that up. And we're going to line that up. Stamp that down. Now we're going to switch back to the pink, and we're going to do the one with the dots in it in the center. I really need to get some more blocks so I don't have to move things to do my videos. So we're going to do with the pink, and I'm going to start with the dark, just like I've been doing with the other flowers. And we're going to put this over in here, just right about there. And we're going to do the solid part with the Blushing Bride. We're going to line up the holes. Press that down. And then we're going to do the spray of flowers. And we're going to do those in the pink as well. And I'm just going to bring this down somewhere. Let's go. Trying to decide where I want to put it. Let's go right in here. Like that. And we'll come in with the Blushing Bride. Okay, and then let's do our leaves. I'm going to start with the sprig, and I want to do that in the Soft Sea foam. And I'm just inking that up. And I know that I want one coming down somewhere in here. Let me see. Because I placed these in a little bit of a different spot. Let's go right in here. And then I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm going to go off the other way. Do one more, probably a couple more. I want to come off here, just off the paper like that. And then I want to go one up in this area. Just like that, okay? And then I'm going to come in with my little leaves. And this I'm going to do in Soft Succulent. And I just want to put a few of these around just to get another color involved. And I'm going to put one of these right here. Just like that. And how about down here? And on the other one, I had one right in here, but I don't think that's going to fit well. I'm trying to decide if I want another leaf on there. Could go right in there. Let's do that. Okay, that's got our front panel done, except for our greeting. And we're going to do that in just a moment. I'm going to switch to the inside panel since I've got all my inks out for all my flowers. So I'm just going to switch to my inside panel. And we're going to start with this flower. I want to get that good and cleaned off. Still have some purple ink because this time we're going to do it in the pink. So we just want to put one right down towards the bottom. Let's go right in here. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the solid part and the Blushing Bride. I'm just going to line that middle part up. And then we're going to do the one with the holes in it. We're going to do that of the purple. just going to put this right in here. And then we're going to bring in the solid of that. Line our holes up. Just like that. And then we're going to come in with our sprig again in our soft sea foam. And we're going to do one off this way. And then we're going to do one off the other way. Just like that. Just to dress up the inside. And then my greetings I'm doing out of the Gorgeous Grape. I didn't want to use black on this because I was trying to keep it all very springy. So on the inside, while we're with this inside piece, let's just go ahead and get that done. And I'm going to use this You're Every Bit of Wonderful. So I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm just going to stamp that right here. Just like that. And then we're going to bring our front piece back in. And we're going to do the Just For You. And again, we're going to use the Gorgeous Grape. And we're just going to stamp that up in here. Just like that. And now we're ready to put it together. So I am just going to close up my inks real quick so that I don't have a problem. Too many times I've left my ink pads open and then I'll lay my card down in the ink pad, or I'll get my fingers in it and then transfer it to my project. So I always recommend when you're done doing your stamping, go ahead and close those ink pads up. And then always, when you get done closing your ink pads, just look at your fingers, because if you're like me, you tend to get it on your fingers when you're closing your pads. So always do a quick look and save yourself the anguish of transferring ink to the card where you don't want it, okay? So I'm gonna move my scratch paper. We're gonna bring in all of our components. Move everything else out of the way. Okay, we're ready to put everything together. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up in my Stampin' Seal, and I'm just going to add my inside piece. You could definitely use liquid glue, whatever adhesive you like. Okay. And I'm just going to adhere this. This is my inside piece. Okay, we're just going to fold that closed. I'm just going to take my bone folder and give it a good crease. Now we're ready to do the front panel. So I'm going to attach my stamped piece onto my mat. I usually have die cuts I'm working with on my cards, so this was unusual for me to just do stamping. Sometimes it's fun just to do something different. Okay, so Got that on there. Now we're ready to add this to the front. And remember, this piece is just a very slim border, just a very tiny border. So keep that in mind when you go to put this on the card. Okay. Double check to make sure how this needs to go on there so I get it on there right and don't ruin my card. And again, just the tiniest of border. Okay, and then I have some of these pastel adhesive back sequins, and there's 2 sheets and they're different sizes. One's larger and one's smaller. And we're going to use those, so I'm just going to use one of the large ones right in there. And then I'm going to use a couple of the small ones. I'm just using my Take Your Pick tool to add those. I love how this looks. I love the colors on here. And just put another one right there. And there we have our card. This is the one we just made together. This is the one that I made earlier. Now, you might be saying, well, that looks a little different. Let me show you what I did. And I wanted to be able to compare them. So that's why I did the video different. On this one, I took my Blushing Bride and my Fresh Freesia, and I took a blending brush, and you can see I just added some ink in those white spaces, and I like that too, or I like it where there's more white. Whichever, I wanted to show you the 2 versions so you could see the difference. If you go with your blending brush and just color the background a little, you'll have this. If you don't do any blending, this is what you have. Both beautiful cards. Both would be well received by any recipient. I hope you enjoy this card. I hope that you'll give it a try. If you don't have the Two Tone Flora, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful set. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the little notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Check out my Facebook group, my Facebook page, and I will be back with you to a craft again soon.